Welcome to the session on creating drawings and artworks in Illustrator. Setting up new document. To create a new document, click File New. This will open the document setup dialog box. Here you will be able to set up the correct page size and orientation for your document. Save artwork. When you save artwork, Illustrator writes the artwork data to a file. There are 5 basic file formats: AI, PDF, EPS, FXG and SVG, to which you can save artwork. These formats are called native formats because they can preserve all Illustrator data including multiple artboards. The first one, choose file, then save as or file, then save a copy. The second one, type a file name and choose a location for the file. The third one, choose Illustrator, that is AI, as a file format and click Save. Layers in Illustrator. When creating complex artwork, it's a challenge to keep track of all the items in your document window. Small items get hidden under large items and selecting artwork becomes difficult. Layers provide a way to manage all the items that make up your artwork. Think of layers as clear folders that contain artwork. The structure of layer in your document can be as simple or complex as you want it to be. By default, all items are organized in a single parent layer. However, you can create new layers and move items into them, or move elements from one layer to another at any time. The Layers panel provides an easy way to select, hide, lock and change the appearance attributes of artwork. Layers panel overview. We can use the Layers panel window layers to list, organize and edit the objects in a document. By default, every new document contains one layer and each object you create is listed under that layer. However, you can create new layers and rearrange items to best suit your needs. A. Visibility column. B. Edit column. C. Target column. D. Selection column. Navigating through the document. Within Illustrator, it's pretty easy to navigate around your document using the Hand tool H and the Zoom tool Z. Use their shortcuts H, Z or click on them on the toolbar circle below. If you hold down the space bar, you can use the Hand tool while you are using most other tools. Once you let go, your cursor will go back to the tool you were using. This is helpful when you need to move around your document while using a tool and saves you the time it takes to switch tools. When using the Zoom tool, it defaults to zooming in. Hold down the Alt key while using the Zoom tool to change it to zoom out. Selection tools. There are 2 types of selection tools in Illustrator used for selecting objects. Selection tool used for selecting and moving a shape. It can also be used to resize a shape. Direct selection tool selects a single anchor point instead of the whole shape, used for editing an anchor point of a shape. Click once on a point to select and hold Shift to select multiple anchor points. Creating basic shapes. Illustrator offers a large variety of shape tools to create any shape. To create a shape, do the following. The first one, select the shape tool that corresponds to the shape you wish to create. Click and drag on the artboard to create a desired size and proportion of the shape. Or the second one, select the shape tool you wish to use and click on that artboard. This will open a window with the properties of your new shape. Here you can type in specific height, width, number of points on a star, etc. Working with the basic shapes. Illustrator offers a large variety of shapes such as rectangles, ellipses, rounded rectangles, polygons and more. A shape you create is composed of anchor points with paths connecting the anchor points. A basic square, for instance, is composed of 4 anchor points on the corners with the paths connecting the anchor points. See the figure at right. A shape is referred to as a closed path. A path can be closed or it can be open with distinct anchor points on each end, called endpoints. Both open and closed paths can have fills applied to them. All of the shape tools except for the star tool and flare tool, also known as lie shapes. This means that attributes such as width, height, rotation, corner radius and corner style are still editable later and are retained even if scale or rotate the shape. Creating and editing rectangles. Select the rectangle tool in the tool panel. Position the pointer near the center of the artboard and click and drag down and to the right. As you drag, notice the gray tool tip that appears indicating width and height. Drag until the rectangle gets approximate to width and height as shown in the tool tip next to the cursor. As you drag to create shapes, the tool tip that appears next to the pointer is called the measurement. When you release the mouse button, the rectangle is selected. Also, by default, shapes are filled with a fill color and have a stroke color border. From the transform panel, you can change the appearance of your lie shape, including its dimensions, rotation and corner properties. We can create a rectangle with rounder corners using the rounder rectangle tool. Reshaping objects. Reshaping an object means changing the shape of an object through transformation. Transforming encompasses moving, rotating, reflecting, scaling and shearing objects. Transformation of objects can be done using the transform panel, transform commands and specialized tools, and also perform many types of transformation by dragging the bounding box for a selection. The transform panel, window, transform, displays information about the location, size and orientation of one or more selected objects. By typing new values, you can modify the selector objects, their pattern, fills or both. You can also change the transformation reference point and lock the object's proportions. Transform using the bounding box. When you select one or more objects with the selection tool, a bounding box displays around them. Use the bounding box to easily move, rotate, duplicate and scale objects by dragging the object or a handle one of the hollow squares along the bounding box. Scale objects. Scaling an object enlarges or reduces it horizontally along the x-axis, vertically along the y-axis or both using scale tool. Object scale relative to a reference point which varies depending on the scaling method you choose. You can change the default reference point for most scaling methods, and you can also log the proportions of an object. Shear objects. Shearing an object slants or skews the object along the horizontal or vertical axis or a specified angle that's relative to a specified axis using shear tool. Objects shear relative to a reference point which varies depending on the shearing method you choose and can be changed for most shearing methods. You can lock one dimension of an object as you shear it, and you can shear one object or multiple objects simultaneously. Distort objects. We can distort objects by using the free transform tool or a liquefy tool. Use a free transform tool when you want to distort freely. Use liquefy tool if you want to take advantage of specific present distortions such as twirls, puckers and wrinkles. Reshape using envelopes. Envelopes are objects that distort or reshape selected objects. You can make an envelope out of an object on your artboard, or you can use a preset wrap shape or a mesh grid as an envelope. You can use envelopes on any object except graphs, guides or linked objects. The layers panel lists envelopes as envelope. Once you apply an envelope, you can continue to edit the original objects. You can edit an envelope shape or the enveloped object, but not both at the same time. There are so many different ways to reshape an object, such as combine objects, cut and divide objects, edit clipping mask, using effects and blending options, etc. Fills and outlines, strokes. A fill is a color pattern or gradient inside an object. Fill can be applied to any open and closed objects. A stroke can be the visible outline of an object, a path, or the edge of a live paint group. You can control the width and color of a stroke. You can also create dash strokes using path options and paint stylized strokes using brushes. Here green is fill color and violet is stroke color. Fill and stroke controls. Controls for setting the fill and stroke are available in the tool panel, the control panel and the color panel. Use any of the following controls in the tools panel to specify color. Fill button. Double click to select a fill color using the color picker. Stroke button. Double click to select a stroke color using the color picker. Swap fill and stroke button. Click to swap colors between the fill and stroke. Default fill and stroke button. Click to return to the default color setting while fill and black stroke. Color button. Click to apply the last selected solid color to an object with a gradient fill or no stroke or fill. Gradient button. Click to change the currently selected fill to the last selected gradient. None button. Click to remove the selector object's fill or stroke. Stroke panel. Stroke panel window stroke is used to specify whether a line is solid or dashed. The dash sequence and other dash adjustments if it is dashed, the stroke weight, the stroke alignment, the milta limit, arrow heads, weight profiles and the styles of line joints and line caps. Stroke options can apply to an entire object or can use live paint groups and apply different strokes to different edges with the object. Drawing tools in Illustrator. Pen tool. Select the pen tool and click once to add the first anchor point. Move your mouse to the next position and click again to create the second point. The two anchor points will be connected together. Continue doing this to create a W shape as shown. To draw a new line, click the selection tool, the black arrow icon, and click back the pen tool again. To close a path, click back the starting point to close the shape. Click and drag to put out the handles to create a smooth anchor point. Drawing a circular path. Click and drag to create a smooth anchor point. Continue adding points and click back the starting point to close the path. Adding anchor points. With the pen tool selected, go near the path where you want to add a new anchor point. A plus sign will appear next to the pen. Click on the path to create a new anchor point. Removing anchor points. To remove point, move your pen tool close to an anchor. A minus sign will appear next to the pen. Click on the anchor point to delete it. Pencil tool. Select the pencil tool and click and drag to draw a freehand line drawing. Draw another line, this time as you loop back to the starting point. Hold Alt option as your pencil tool reaches the start point. A circle icon will appear next to the pencil tool to indicate path closure. Reshaping path. To reshape the path, make sure the path is selected and use the pencil tool to redraw the parts you would like to reshape. Note that the start and end path must be close to the original path for this to work. Text tools or type tools. Type tools and type controls are perhaps the most flexible and powerful aspects of Illustrator. Type tools and controls in this application are important because after all, it would be unusual to complete a design without using text. Design applications would be nothing without access to all of those symbols we rely on so heavily and which make up our words. Drag a box within part of your page using the Type tool. There is a blinking insertion mark at the top left of this text box. Illustrator will now act as a word processing application within that box. The panels to control the type style and paragraph formatting are at Window, Type, Character and Window, Type, Paragraph. Enter text at a point. Point type is a horizontal or vertical line of text that begins where you click and expands as you enter characters. Each line of text is independent. The line expands or shrinks as you edit it, but doesn't wrap to the next line. Entering text this way is useful for adding a few words to your artwork. Enter text in an area. Area type, also called paragraph type, uses the boundaries of an object to control the flow of characters, either horizontally or vertically. When the text reaches a boundary, it automatically wraps to fit inside the defined area. Entering text this way is useful when you want to create one or more paragraphs, such as for a brochure. Formatting text. One of the most powerful features of Illustrator is the ability to use type as a graphic element. Like other objects, type can be painted, scaled, rotated, etc. Type can also wrap around objects, make it follow a path, create type masks, import text files into containers, and modify the shape of individual letters in a block of type. Character panel. Type can either select the entire box with the selection tool, or it can select individual type by highlighting it, dragging over text with the Type tool. Wrap text around an object. You can wrap area text around any object, including type objects, imported images, and objects you draw in Illustrator. If the wrap object is an embedded bitmap image, Illustrator wraps the text around opaque or partially opaque pixels and ignores fully transparent pixels. Wrapping is determined by the stacking order of objects, which you can view in the Layers panel by clicking the triangle next to the layer name. To wrap text around an object, the wrap object must be in the same layer as the text and located directly above the text in the layer hierarchy. You can drag contents up or down in the Layers panel to change hierarchy. Wrap text. Make sure that the following conditions are true for the type you want to wrap. It is area type, typed in a box. It is in the same layer as the wrap object. It is located directly under the wrap object in the layers hierarchy. If the layer contains multiple type objects, move any that you don't want to wrap around the wrap object, either into another layer or above the wrap object. Second, select object or objects around which you want to text to wrap. The third one, choose object, text wrap, make. Set wrap options. You can set wrap options before or after you wrap the text. The first one, select the wrap object. Second, choose object, text wrap options and specify the following options. Offset specifies the amount of space between the text and the wrap object. You can enter a positive or negative value. Invert wrap wraps the text around the reverse side of the object. Unwrap text from an object. First one, select the wrap object. Then second, choose object, text wrap, release. Now let's have a brief summary that what we've been talking about so far. Adobe Illustrator is a vector-based application catering to the designing needs for point, web, etc. During this module, we have gone through the different features and tool sets available for creating vector artworks. With right practice of different tools, we could create professional drawings and designs inside of Illustrator. Assignments for you. The first one, create a brochure design with a theme, preserve nature. Creatively use all tools and functionalities we learned in this module. Second one, create an artwork using only shapes and strokes. The third one, using the pencil and pen tool, draw a character. Books for reference. Adobe Illustrator, CC Classroom in a book by Brian Wood. Illustrator CC Visual Kickstart Guide by Elaine Weinman, Peter Lorikas. The Adobe Illustrator CS3 Word book by Sharon Stewart. Adobe Illustrator CS3 Training Videos 1 CD ROM by Wings Live. Here we conclude this session. Have a great day.